Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yuki Antiwa, and I'm your host for the Women Show. Today again, we're on your screens to delve into the issues of responsibilities of fathers. Most of the time, we celebrate mothers more than fathers. And just yesterday was a Mother Day, and we know how it was celebrated. We are yet to celebrate the Father's Day, and we are all contemplating how well it's going to be celebrated. So once again, I'm here with my gentlemen, and we're going to delve into the issues of responsibilities of the father to the child and the development of the child. So stay with me. Once again, it's the Woman Show. I have two gentlemen with me, and I'd love them to introduce themselves. On my left, I'll start from my left.
Reverend Chiboti, Senior Pastor at Akemi, the non-denominational ministry in Sunyani.
Thank you, Papa. And then my right is...
My name is Kwako Ajimabadi Jr., a businessman.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to the show today. And then we are at the Youthbet Hotel, precisely the conference center. We are proudly sponsored by the Youthbet Hotel. We thank you for sponsoring us and making this event come through. So today, as I said, we are discussing something on responsibilities of the father to the child. Let me first ask, what is a father, or who is a father? Let me throw it to my left. Reverend.
Yeah, thank you very much. A father, most dictionaries and from within the Bible dictionary defines a father as one who biologically fathers a child. That is one definition of a father. And if you look through the word, you realize that it even affects ancestors whom we did not even meet. So a father, though is biological, but then it also have what we in the Christian circles so called blood related, it's generational in nature. Then again, a father can also be someone who adopts a child,
Okay.
and then takes care of that child. He is also referred to as a father. Then we can have what we normally call the putative father, where it has not been proven whether he is the biological father of a child in question. Then we have what we call the stepfather, who is the husband to the child's mother.
Okay.
So basically, a father is someone who is responsible for, if I'm a male person, who is responsible to a child, either of the types I have mentioned,
Okay.
could be referred to as a father.
Okay, thank you. Kweku, if I should ask what the responsibility of a father is, what would you say?
Thank you very much. The responsibility of a father is actually a full-time job. I'm sure Reverend here would agree with me on that. In that it's not just fathering or bringing forth the child into the world. It's actually through the total development of that child for the rest of his or her life. It involves the spiritual, the emotional, the intellectual, the sense of being, the security part of a son or a daughter. And it is the father figure, the protection, the role model for which each child looks up to and aspires to become. If it's a son, all he does is to model his lifestyle on the character of his father. But if it's a daughter, he models her relationship based on the relationship her father may have had with other people or how loving he was towards her.
Okay.
That's what the roles and the nature of the father is. It goes just beyond that. It has actually no end until the end of time when you are called, either the father or the child is called. The father role keeps going because you are the special advisor in your child's life. So that at any point in time, he looks up to you, comes to you for that advisor. Only you. Is a role actually nobody can play. No, absolutely nobody can play except the father. It's a very special role.
Okay. So specifically, you made mention of the physical, the emotional, psychological. So specifically, Papa, let me throw this to you. So let's go to the spiritual first. what role specifically does spiritual roles does the father play to the child?
Thank you very much. Maybe to add a little to what Kwaku said, it is not the it's the ministry.
Fatherhood.
That is it. We will call it a ministry. It is a calling that you have to hold it. Otherwise, you can't meet the standard Kwaku just mentioned. So it's not just producing a sperm and fertilizing an egg and a baby comes out and you call yourself a father. It's a lifetime ministry. So as the father, you know, if you do a little of a what do you call it, anatomy of a womb, you realize that the baby in the womb is totally separated from the mother. It's only connected to the mother through the umbilical cord. The blood that gives life to the baby comes from the father, not the mother. And it is the blood that contains the life of a child. Therefore, spiritually, every father's blood flows through his children. By implication, you have what we call a covering. That means that in the realm of a spiritual, a father is supposed to cover his children. And when we talk about covering, we're talking about protection in the spiritual realm. So I am identified with my father spiritually through the blood that flows through me. And by virtue of that connection, he's supposed to provide that kind of covering for me. Spiritually too, he's supposed to introduce or lead me to his God. If my father is a Christian, he must teach me to become a Christian. If my father is a Muslim, he will teach me to become a Muslim. If my father is a Hindu, so whoever your father is spiritually, your children, you will have to lead your children in that direction. Nobody else will have to do that. If you don't do it, you leave them up and anybody else can come in and push your child away. So spiritually, that is it. Then the third point, spiritually you give your children direction. See, you give your children direction in the realm of a spiritual. Every father is supposed to pray for his children. And whatever you pray for your children, if you do it diligently, you see them move in that direction. So as the father, to sum it up, your children see you as the priest or the imam of your house. You are the spiritual leader in that house. And therefore, they look up to you for spiritual nourishment, spiritual growth, and all that pertains with spirituality.
Okay. Is that a reason why men do claim children? This is my child. Regardless, if this man takes responsibility or not, this man claims this is my child. So after many years of neglection, the man comes home and go like, I'm coming for my child.
It's an unbreakable bond, a bond that you cannot break. Reverend said it right. The blood of a child is what comes from the father to that child.
Okay.
Nothing can take that away. Most of the children grow up looking for their fathers, even for a very long loss of time.
Yes.
It's a bond that nothing can break. Everybody is claimed to be your father's son. I am my father's son. He is his father's son. You are your father's daughter. It is what it is. It is not because of that really that men want to claim their children. It is that biological, spiritual connection between a man and his child that allows a man to come back, no matter the length of time, to come back to his children or to come back to society and claim what is duly his. Remember, the failures of a son or child is the responsibility or the fault of a father. He may want to have a chance to correct all the wrongs probably the son may have done growing up. If he is still alive, he still has a chance to correct them.
Wow. Okay, let's go for commercial break. And when we come back, we'll continue with the psychological and the physical responsibilities of the father. All right, you're welcome back to the Woman Show, and I'm Okianti, your host, and I have with me Reverend Che Boateng, and I have with me Kwaku, as I call him. And we are sponsored by Usbet Hotel. It is on your way to Brekum, opposite the regional office, Sunyani regional office. And they have their conference center, the restaurants, the lounge, they have their cinema, they have hotel rooms as well. And so you can make yourself comfortable anytime, any day you visit Sunyani. We are grateful to them. When we left, before we left, we were talking about the responsibility, spiritual responsibility of a father. Now let's delve into the physical responsibility of the father in the home, where there is a mother and then a child or children. Whether the man is in the house, which we call it a home, or he is out. Probably there was marriage and there is now a divorce, or there was never a marriage, but there was a pregnancy. Kweku, what are the physical responsibilities of a father in the home?
Well, the first one is to offer protection. Protection, absolute and total protection to the family, especially the children. It is a physical job. And in that protection, it's not just that being a security man of a sort, but learning, nurturing. You can teach your children in so many ways how to nurture them, to model their life to be what the standards you want them to be. So for instance, in teaching, a father would help the child through teaching by playing.
Okay.
So we're going to play with colors, or we're going to play with bottles. These are the size and shapes of bottles that we have around. These are the things. You teach them in a way that they begin to appreciate that there is a small bottle and there's a big bottle.
Okay.
And that even if you arrange the bottles this way, this is a shape or design you make it.
Okay.
Now you teach by laughter, laughing through laughter.
Okay.
It's okay to make mistakes. As a father, when you make mistakes in your own home, you laugh at yourself. You give that space and allow your children to approach you. You become approachable.
Okay.
That if daddy made a mistake and he could laugh at himself, why not? It is life we are growing.
Yeah.
Mistakes are inevitable.
Okay.
But the lessons learned from that is what is important. Now, if you allow that space, you allow your children to come to you, become approachable, then you can teach them the right things. Now, another way of doing that is modeling. The modeling in this sense is to live your life in a way that you wish and expect your children to live it.
Okay.
So, like Reverend said, you are that figure. They look up to you. Children look up to the male figure in the house.
Okay.
The rules you set and how you enforce those rules. That being a father, it is your approval that is right for children to follow.
Yes.
So daddy says that mommy's food is the best. That's what it is. Forget outside food. He goes out and comes home and thinks mommy's food is the best because daddy always eats mommy's food in the house.
In the house.
You are teaching your children how to behave. You are teaching your daughter how to treat her man when she grows up. She is looking out for love because my father is a loving and a gentle father. The relationship. My son is looking up to me because of the character model I have in the house. I want to be like my father.
Okay.
That's all. His approval or whatever he wants is what I approve of. Now the last and most important thing is there's something called an intentional involvement. You have to make an effort to get into your child's life.
Okay.
Don't be a distant father. Don't sit on the fence and watch your son. Get involved. Talk to them. Approach them in a nice way. Kids warm up to you. Then you groom them. If you do not, Reverend said it, you're going to create a space and somebody's going to jump in it. And then next time you come back, you may have had all that there is in this world. But then you may have lost your children. And that all depends on time. That is why we say that it's a full-time job, it's a full-time ministry. Children don't spend love, they spend time. Quality time the father spends with you.
Just to add a little to what Kwaku said, all that Kwaku is saying is with the point that a father's responsibility to love his children is unconditional.
Absolutely.
You see, it's unconditional. You are not supposed to love your children because they are good, because they are doing good things, because they are scoring high marks at school, they are making you proud, then you love them. That is exactly what Kwaku is saying.
Okay.
You see, my children are not supposed to run away from me because today they didn't do well. Even when they do something wrong, they should be able to come to you
And tell you.
That is it. Another responsibility of a father is shelter. It is not the mother's responsibility to find shelter. It's the father, whether it's a rented accommodation or a built house or whatever.
Okay.
It's your responsibility.
Okay.
You see, in Kwaku's narration, he talks about providing for them.
Okay.
Financial provision. You know, one of the mistakes we do is that when we don't have time, so mommy take the school fees and go and pay.
That part.
And then the children believe that
Mommy paid it.
mommy paid the fees.
Yes.
Because daddy doesn't have time to pay our fees. Fathers don't go for PTA meetings and all that.
Mommy
And these are activities, you see, like Kwaku said, they believe father must be part of whatever we do. But then, because you don't join them, no, it is mommy who did it. Mommy came for PTA. Mommy took us to church. Mommy took us. So you see, everything, that is why Mother's Day is celebrated so wide.
Oh, that's the reason.
I'm telling you, because we fathers relinquish the responsibility of committing time to the children,
Okay.
to the mother. And you won't blame fathers, because you see, they have to provide, they have to find money, they have to find shelter, they have to get protection. You see, they must love their children, they must train them, they must teach them. Sometimes the problem of clothing, shelter, protection alone takes you out of the house.
So, Papa, now that women are working, okay, my mother is working, my father is working, and we bring our resources together to produce for the home. Okay, now, how do we balance this? Because if you're talking about shelter, clothing, and everything,
when you look at the percentages, where mother is working, father is working, fathers still seems to have more work on their hands to bring in more of the budget than the mother.
you don't think it's because of the external family
the percentage.
relations?
That's what I'm saying. That I'm looking at the percentages.
But let's limit it to the nuclear family.
I'm not writing off mother's financial contribution to the home. No, but for example, I am here, but mommy is at home.
Yes.
So definitely, she's having more time with the kids than I do. So if I don't put in an effort, like Kwaku just said, I will go home tired, sleep, wake up the next
Early morning.
and mommy had so much time with them, and I don't have. You see, the most funny thing is that the kid will call you, hey, daddy, we miss you. You get home, they spend just 5 minutes with you,
And you are
you go
sleepy
back to
already.
mommy. No, you are sleeping, they go back to mommy.
Oh, okay.
Because they are used to her. So it is it's one of the major responsibilities of a father to spend time, quality time with your children. Not going to throw them up at a party somewhere and then you'll be sitting there fidgeting your phone, or you take them to cinema and then you are, no. They want to have you. They want to ride on your neck. They want you to be playing with them on the floor in the
Stepping
house.
on you.
That is it.
Yes.
Kids need that love. And it's a responsibility of every father to love your children unconditionally.
Our problem is to balance time with responsibility and relationship. I think our problem has been that we think responsibility equals relationship. No, it does not.
Okay.
No, relationship is a very different level.
Okay.
How you relate to your children, how you bond to your child is different from providing. Most of the times you hear a father says, I took my son to the best schools and look at where he has become. That is not it.
He never had time
He
for
never
a
had
relationship. He never
It's not just about taking him to school,
No.
paying bills, buying food for
You
them
have to have a relationship.
with a child.
But the problem is that there's so much responsibility on a father or a man that it's not easy. So the job actually is the balancing between responsibility, work, and relationship. But the most important thing is the relationship. It is the only time you can find space in your child's life and do all necessary corrections to model him.
Yes.
Discipline.
I think I agree.
Yes.
No, if you don't
So
have,
much.
then you throw your children out.
Because
Then
most of
you
the
become a
time,
monster.
when fathers are not in the house and home, let me say, when fathers are out of the home and children are misbehaving, this is what mothers say. Daddy will come and meet you in the house. I won't say anything. You wait. When daddy comes, you see what we do to you. Okay, so at this time, let's just go for a commercial break and come back. It's still the woman show. Thank you. It is getting very interesting, very educative, and the seats are hotter, trust me. Now we are still at Usbet Hotel. It's a 4-star hotel in Sunyani. On your way to Brekum, just opposite the regional office in Sunyani. before we left, we were talking about the spiritual, we talk about the physical responsibility of a father. Now, we're talking about the psychological responsibility of a father. You know, in our conversations, things came up and I came to understand that the father is the pivot of the family, and in the child's life, the father is the pivot. Now, let me ask my gentleman again that for a child to grow up with the attitude or the behavior, the character of being responsible, is it the mother or the father? The reason I'm asking this is because that mothers are always home. And again, I have believed all my life that mothers shape the children because they are mostly in the house. They provide them with the food, shelter, basically everything the child needs comes from the mother. Now I'm getting a different story. Okay, so I'm asking my gentleman again that does that responsibility in the child come from the mother or the father? Who's taking this?
Thank you. Yeah. Let me start. You see, the responsibility of growing a child lies within the father and the mother. But then in the home they have roles.
The father and the mother have
yes.
Okay.
You know, some of us going through scripture, going through our studies, have come to realize that being a father is not a position, it's a role. Okay. Being a husband, the head of a house, is a role. It's a responsibility God has given you. It's not a position. If you want to go into scripture, there's nothing like a male spirit or a female spirit.
Okay.
But then in the beginning, God created man. Man is just one spirit. That is the soul that gives us life. I pray God gives you the opportunity to see the realm of the spiritual. You wouldn't see the difference. It's just the names that give us identity. Okay. So there are roles God has given. And as the child comes out, in growing the child, we are all supposed to perform our responsibilities for the child to become a complete person. So when you look at the attitude, which maybe we try to see the psychological side of the child, one is inherent.
Okay.
He picks it genetically, either from the mother, the father, or it could be from even any of the external family members. It is the responsibility of the father and the mother to get this child to shape his or her attitude. That is where a good mother is important, who gives very good and accurate reports about the children to the father when the father comes home. Then together they decide how to go about it. But when the mother gives to shield the bad characters of a child and make the child appear good to the father will base on the information from the mother to help groom the child. So at the end of the day, the child becomes the image the mother tried to create.
Okay.
Because the father, since he's always out going to look for so many things for the family, if not, he's going to fool around. You know, there are those who go fooling around. And those ones, we know the problem we bring home. But we're talking about a responsible father who is looking for money, for shelter, for clothing, for food, and for that reason, the children always spend so much time with their mother.
Okay.
Mommy's report is very, very important.
So, does that mean that women being the helpers or supporters of men, let me say wife and husband, okay, hold on.
From scripture point of view,
yes,
they are helpmates.
Okay, so
see, helpmate means that we are the same, but I'm doing something and you are helping me.
So basically, you men are the wall of the front,
like an institution. We are the headmasters and you are the assistant headmasters.
And you take the information from us to
run the institution.
Okay.
I hope you understand.
Okay.
You see, so the psychological growth of the child is not the sole responsibility of the father. The father has a role.
The mother too has.
That is it. And the two people must collaborate for that completion.
Okay.
If they don't, then the child grows up and he becomes something else. Maybe something the father wants and something the mother doesn't like, or something the mother wants and the father doesn't like it. And you see, Kwaku from the beginning said that is why fathers will want to come back and even at an old age still want to try to make corrections.
So Papa, in a home where there is no father, single mothers raise children all alone. Okay, and I think what single mothers even fight more often is physical responsibilities in the money, the bills the fathers are not paying. That is what women fight most over their children. And should that be the case? I mean, where there is no father in the home, it's after the pregnancy, the man decided to leave.
You see, the single mother's issue, to me, most often is psychological.
Okay.
The woman assumes there is no man. And instead of focusing her energies on possibly trying to play the role of a man, they rather lambast the man anytime something is not around. They say bad things about the man. They sometimes they even put their anger on the child because the man is not there. I believe that single mothers can do extremely well if they will alter their psychology a little and begin to see that, yes, by accident, I have a child. The child is supposed to feel the role of a father and a mother. You see, I said it's a responsibility. So a mother can really play that responsibility such that I have met a single mother whose children don't feel the absence of a father, and they don't have any problem against the male person, and they don't have any ill intention against the father who ran away. In fact, the mother even helped them to search for their father, because this woman saw that there's a role gap and it must be filled, so she filled it. Okay, it is more of a mental attitude, a psychological attitude, not to bring your anger and vengeance on the children.
Yes.
Okay, because the psychological role the father plays, if the mother decides to counter it, the child is in trouble.
Okay.
For example, if you see back when we went for a short break, we talk about when there was an agreement between the father and the mother, and then the mother betrayed the father. You see, in this case, that child will never appear to become the person the mother wants to be.
Never again.
Because he sees that kind of betrayal. You see, the psychological responsibility alters the attitude of a child. It even makes the child whether boastful, whether he's proud to come out, whether he's shy, whether he's fearful, and it's done by both parents. But then the main responsibility
It's on the
lies on the father.
Okay. So, Kweku, let me ask you this. In a home where there is no father, a mother is trying to play the role of a father and as well as the mother. The child grows up and tends to look for the father. I mean, the women get to be embittered. I think it's not worth it anyway. So now, what are you telling the fathers who have been in this position where they have refused to? Probably some of them say that these women didn't allow them as men to take responsibilities of these children or this child. That part, I don't really get it. I believe that no matter what it is, however the situation is, you are the man. And you be the man, you should always be the man, regardless. I don't know the strength of a woman that could supersede that of a man.
You're right on that point. I mean, it's a very complementary role.
Okay.
Men complement women with certain things in the house.
Right.
Women are supposed to complement men with certain things and the responsibilities of a man.
Okay.
Now the key is to focus on the strength, the inner strength of a child,
Okay.
utilizing the natural asset of a father's style of parenting. What we have to appreciate is that we may come from two different homes, where in my house, men take charge. In
Okay.
your house, women take charge. So when we come together, there may be certain things in my home that I never liked.
Okay.
Same may apply to you. So how do we want to make our home? We have to sit down as two people to try and then agree on something for us. Now, whereby there's conflicting understanding of how a child should come tomorrow, then a child, yes, will go through a lot coming up. Now, women are well endowed in all ways. They can do a lot of things by themselves, for themselves,
Okay.
for the greater good. It would have been better at all times to have had a man in your home.
Okay.
But if there is no man, there's no point in bastardizing the man. There's no point in venting all that anger, the hatred of that child, of the man towards that child.
Okay.
You help groom your child such a way that you never know what or who he may become.
Sure.
So you try to speak life into his life. You pray and be his guide for him, that always when he goes out there, for whatever you never liked about a certain man in your life, he doesn't become that.
Exactly.
Don't push him to the extreme. Certain things, genes, no matter how you try to suppress them, will come up one day as men. So women should try as much as possible to be sometimes that father in the house,
yes,
as well as that mother. They can do it. They can do it. It is irresponsible sometimes for a man not to take care of his home, but then probably if lemons were changed into lemonade, the story may change. If we could appreciate what made them do what they want, there's no way I would accept and agree an irresponsible father.
Yeah.
No, you have to be there. What did the child do wrong in that relationship that you are refusing to take care of your child?
Nothing.
You have to take care of the child. You may ignore the woman involved,
Yes.
but then not the child.
You know, some people say that because when they take the money from them, women are going to enjoy the money too.
No, but what do you
so
expect?
Then, hey,
Unless you cook and then give it to him, or you come and cook and then you take him and go and feed him and bring him back. You cannot do that. There's nothing wrong. I keep saying that. Even people on the outside, you give them money. How much more women you give a child for?
yes.
So for me, what we have to do is to appreciate that, yes, in as much as they are different in roles,
Okay.
there's a role for a father, there's a role for a mother. The mother's role is to complement what a father does. The father's job is to be responsible and have a very good relationship with the home, with the children. Be that head, groom them, make them character-wise, love, show a certain level of openness and loving towards their children. Draw them to yourself. Remember what Jesus said, allow the kids to come to me. You were created in his own image.
Yes.
So you are enjoined by divine.
Yes.
You are enjoined by your mere nature of being created by God to be that responsible for your son, for your daughter, for your children, for your home. You cannot ignore. I said it and I'm going to say it again. The force of a child is as a result of the failures of a father.
Period.
No two ways about that.
See, and to add to, you see, fathers who neglect their responsibilities of taking care of their children, whether they marry the woman
Or not.
they are irresponsible.
Absolutely.
You see, one thing a matured man will not do is to transfer anger. The fact that the woman did something wrong
Doesn't mean you should punish the
doesn't
child.
mean you should punish the child.
Exactly.
And that is what a lot of men, especially Ghanaian men, we do. Hey, we're going out, I saw her with another man,
Exactly.
and that child suffers.
And with some excuse that I don't have money.
No, that one is
that's insulting.
It's an irresponsible statement. Because you go and find out these same men sitting and lavishly wasting money.
But who has money? We all work for it.
You see, so for the reasons that men are not responsible, it in itself is irresponsibility. Yes. And I believe that men who are watching us, who might have taken that kind of step, they need help. They need help. To me, some of them are psychologically incapacitated. They have this problem and they need help because that is your blood.
What's your blood?
You see, that is your blood.
You beat your chest to say it.
And then you grow and in your old age regret for not taking care of your own blood. Why don't you then ignore the woman and take care of the child now? So that in the future you'll be proud it's your child. You see, so men who run away is irresponsibility. But then sometimes too, the mothers, they should also not take selfish interest in taking decisions. They put their selfish interest above the interest of the entire family. And it's cost them. You see, I have seen women who have endured marriages just because of their children.
Is that then right?
It is, even if it is not right,
Because
she thinks that the children must have a better future. And they go through. I have seen men who endure their wives just for their children. What does it mean? Kweku just said, sacrifice. The mother, the father, they sacrifice for the family. And that makes the complementary role very beautiful. There might not be money in the house, but when we understand ourselves, wow, there will be peace. And we can develop our children. I don't have the whole world, but at least my children will not go begging.
Sure.
But when we put our heads together, we are able to put the family at least food on their table. So, it is not about just any man who goes out and neglects his child or the responsibility of the child. To me, those people who do that are irresponsible. They don't want to be responsible men, and that is why they do those
They need
things.
deliverance.
They need help, serious help. Depending on wherever they are coming from, they really need help. And unfortunately for Ghana, our social services don't also help such people. Because I know of countries where the man will be invited and the laws of the country will force you to take care of them.
Sometimes you even have to, how do you call it? Babysit.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
the laws will force you to take care of your child. So some countries that I know, men will not bring forth and want to be run away. You will pay. You will pay for rent double. You will pay your own and pay for the child. And the mother, you pay fees, you pay. I tell you, they will even pay utilities, and you pay your own. So some of them they will endure. You let sit there. And
So I pay once, not twice.
But in our country, unfortunately, that is it. The enforcement of our laws does not really encourage that. So we have a lot of children in the streets simply because mothers can't take care of them. And has become a jungle, survival of the fittest. It pains my heart sometimes. I drive around and I see them, and it pains your heart because you can't bring all this to your home. But you see, somebody has been irresponsible. And the laws of the country should have dealt with the person. There was a case I followed, and at the end of the day, the law court, the man said, I am not working, I can pay 20 cedis a month.
And they accepted.
And then court accepted it.
Too bad.
And I asked the lawyer, and the lawyer said, yes. The man doesn't know. This is, the man should have been
Who should pay the rest?
That is it.
Let's go back to the
Unfortunately,
man.
Ghana, we don't have a social service.
No.
Where you say that government come to maybe compliment whatever the man is giving.
You see?
So you see, our laws are not also helping. And until maybe men sit up or the law begin to punish them for wrongdoing, I tell you, Mother's Day will be celebrated to the I'm telling you, nobody can compete that.
Yes,
because all of us here who are being good fathers, who are trying to put good things to our children,
we celebrate
our Father's Day. We celebrate our Mother's Day. Yes. But I can tell you that I celebrate my mother a lot because regardless, I celebrate my father. I celebrate both, but you know, that attachment. It
goes more to the mother.
You see, that's what I'm telling you, that attachment. That was a sportsman. He was always traveling. I was always with the mother. Okay. My mommy will take you there. You are sick, mommy is there. You need food, mommy is there. You know, but one good thing I will always recommend my mother for, she never said any bad thing about the man when we were all growing. It is when we grew and got married, then sometimes, occasionally, she will pop in one. But now she knows we are grown.
So you understand.
That is it.
Yeah.
But thanks God, they are still together, they are not separated.
Hallelujah.
And that is the beauty of marriage. So we believe that men who are listening to us will begin to, in fact, in bits and pieces, there's nothing like time have been wasted.
Sure.
You can still go back. No matter how grown your child is, they still have that fatherly bond. You can still go back and still show some love. The love aspect brings everything.
The relationship.
I tell you, like Oku emphasize on it. It brings everything. It brings everything. Sometimes your child might even be earning more than you have now, but the relationship is priceless. And single mothers who are listening to us, please stop bastardizing and killing the fathers who left you.
Amen.
In fact, take up some of the role which already you are playing.
Yes, and appreciate it.
That is it. And your children, I tell you, will never become like the man who ran away from you. And you'll be proud to see them grow and not follow after the pains you saw as you brought them up.
Thank you. Gregor has been making very interesting points on single motherhood and the child, that relationship, where there is no father. He has some lines that I love so much. Would you love to share with me?
Well, you know, all that I could say is that women are very special persons.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, they are a very special person. I mean, without women, we say it's a man's world,
Yeah.
but truly it's a woman's world.
Okay, second time hearing this.
Yes, truly is a woman's world, because many presidents have been said that the ruling of the country are actually by their wives. It's a fact.
Okay.
I mean, because what happens?
No, many great men.
Many Greek
Many
men, yeah, I should say that. In fact, the chemistry of a man and a woman in the bedroom is very different from what happens outside. And you may not know what they may have spoke about
Sure.
back in the room. What I would wish women, single mothers to understand is that they can do all good by themselves. They do not need any person in their life for that moment of taking care of their children. Everybody needs somebody in their life.
Sure.
Everybody. But those anger, turn them into positive energy. Make life beautiful for yourselves. At the end of the day, on Judgment Day, your inactions or actions will not be judged by what I made you do.
Exactly.
Exactly on what you made you do, what you did yourself, for yourself and for your child. You can do it. Some people have done it. Why can you not do it? Responsibilities. You can't take it out. You can help your child grow. And nature himself that whatever bad traits that may grow out of him, you seed it out, you get it out of your child. And your child becomes a better person than you wanted.
Yes.
But do not be selfish.
Exactly.
If you're not careful, you're going to create a monster for yourself in your own home. And that trait is what is going to grow up into his line of family. It is very important. My father says something to me that I wish to share. He says that when your child grows to a certain age, he's no more your child. Consider him your junior sister or your junior brother. You treat him with a certain level of respect.
Sure.
Reverend said that sometimes your child may earn more than you do. Yes,
Yes.
It is because of the sacrifices you made for him or her that has gotten him up there. But if you have a relationship, then at all times, he's still going to show you that respect. It is what is important. Responsibility with that relationship for me is nothing and absolutely nothing. Let all of us, men here, take up that responsibility. Take up that role that no matter what, we have been made to lead the home. We should make it bear fruits on our children, not in orders or authoritarian kind of character,
Okay.
but in a loving, gentle way, so that we may all come out good for the greater good of society. There is moral degeneration now, but of course, with good here and there, we can bring back society to its greater good.
Let me applaud my gentleman. Today has been very insightful. It's been very educative, yet interesting and entertaining. Papa said something that the men are the headmasters and we are the assistants. I agree. So my women, let the headmasters be. So we the assistants also would be. We can play the role of the father and the mother, but few of these men can play the role of what? Mothers and fathers. So we are still up there. Do you understand? Yes, we are still up there. So let's just acknowledge our men, support them just as they are, push them to the best they could be. To my single mothers, it's not always better. I mean, life has got reasons why things happen. So hey, love the child. Let it be loving. Let it be part of you. Taking the responsibility of your child should be easy, fun. I mean, when it becomes that way, it doesn't become bitter. It doesn't become difficult. And to my men, take up responsibilities. Be responsible. Regardless, if it is 10 cedis, be consistent with your 10 cedis. Let us know that it is 10 cedis we can afford, and we would accept it. Be open to us. You're the reason we are here. Without you, we're not complete. Without us, you're not complete either. Our children need you for better life. So please, build your relationship with them well. Pay the bills. Yes, we expect you to do that. Take care of us as well. Yet, be the fathers we need you to be. Today on the show has been very interesting. I've been here with Kweku on my right and then Reverend Che on my left. And we were at Elizabeth Hotel, a 4-star hotel in Sunyani on your way to Brekum. It's on your left, just opposite the regional office. They sponsored us and we are grateful to them and their management. Anytime you are in Sunyani, pass by here. It's still the Woman's Show. Thank you for watching. I am Ekiantiwa and I'm your host.